Well, good morning. So last week I was looking at the lower brain and midbrain. Today I'd like to take a look at our new brain, the upper brain, which developed much later in our sort of evolutionary trajectory. The authors say taking up 5 times more room than does the primal brain, the cerebral cortex is the precious crown jewels of the human species. Herein lie our uniquely human capacities for complex reasoning, speech, logical thought, judgment, planning ahead, self-reflection, and I'm added the italics, for moderating the raw emotion that gets triggered willy-nilly by the primitive brain. So the new brain can override the old brain. The capacity for this moderation depends on how well the lobes are integrated versus whether one lobe is undeveloped or another dominant. And here's an interesting thought. Imago theory posits that beneath the psychological presentation of a couple's problematic is an imbalanced and unintegrated brain. I thought that was a pretty interesting statement, that no matter what couples bring into the office, the challenge is that the brain, basically, that they're not allowing the new brain to override the primal brain. Our primitive brain tends to classify incoming information as either safe or dangerous. Remember, it acts automatically and very quickly, whereas our slower, more deliberate cerebral cortex takes more time to process information. And they go on to say there's another feature of the lower brain that does not help matters. It can't tell the difference between the present and the past. Everything is happening here and now, no matter the actual date or address. Now, the good news is, though, that unlike other members of the animal kingdom, we can think about our thinking. We have the power to shift our focus. We have the ability to change what we're thinking about. Now, but here's the challenge. Both our hardest human problems and their most effective solutions are actually living in the same house. They're just on different floors. When all the regions of the brain are not linking, they are often at war. Our brain is either our best friend or our worst enemy. Which one it is depends on the level of hemispheric balance and integration of the lobes. Balance and integration determine which part of the brain is in charge at the moment. Then they go into a rather lengthy summary of how present-day neuroscience explains how the mind and body work together. And their conclusion is the nervous system structures implanted in the brain and organs that keep us alive are the very same ones implicated in those emotional and behavioral patterns that keep us emotionally alive. So the neural pathways apparently go both ways. One is it keep us alive, but they also keep us emotionally alive. Now again, italics added, which in turn relies on the quality of our perceived connectivity with other members of our species. That is, our physical survival is tied in with the quality of our felt connection with others. And the key, as I have said many times before, is safety. If I feel safe, I can engage socially with other people without worry. If I don't feel safe, I won't. And so they go on. Safety, which is created in relationship and only in relationship, is what enables the brain to engage in socialization, nurturing, and growth-related activities. Without safety, the fight, flight, or freeze responses take over, mobilizing the brain and body to respond to danger, whether the danger is objectively real or is merely imagined. All right? And I know what they're doing is they're really challenging the present-day assumptions about the importance of the individual. Here's a quote. Despite all the evidence, our Western culture denies the obvious, that nobody makes it on one's own or by one's own devices. We all required 2 biological parents to get here. Try staying alive without the farmer who grew what you ate for lunch. So the stress in the past few hundred years has been on the individual, and what they're saying is everything is a relationship. We were born in relationship, we are wounded in relationship, and their contention is that we can be healed in relationship. And they really are taking the idea of relationship to the next level. In the final analysis, we do not have relationships, we are relating. And that is our essence. And again, I add the italics. So everything is about relationship. Anyway, so the first relationship any child has is with its caretakers. obviously, and there's a large body of literature documenting the links between children's early experiences in relationships and their later capability in performing adult relationship tasks. So in the next chapter, so we looked at the brain and how it integrates in everything. The next chapter, they'll explore the different developmental stages of children and examine how the relational challenges are met either well or not so well. But here's, I think, where they're going, where they're heading in their book, Doing Imago Relationships in the Space Between, is their vision that we all have the potential of recovering our original condition of connecting, even if it wasn't done well initially. So I think this is really exciting because we're all bent out of shape a bit. But what they're saying is in the Imago model, you're going to be partnered with somebody who, if you can get it right, if you can become conscious, you have a good chance of completing those relational tasks that maybe didn't get done so well the first time around. Anyway, we'll look more at that at the developmental task of stages of children growing up next week, and see where we go from there. Okay, so today and last time looking at our human brain and its complexity, and next week looking at the developmental stages. Okay, and this is all sort of under the heading of Imago clinical theory. All right, so behind the actual clinical practices, what are the overriding ideas that help me to work with a couple? Okay. Anyway, have a great week. Cheers, and I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. All right, we have so much to be thankful for here in Canada.